Hello and welcome to Nationwide News on the network service of the NTA. I am Norlene Ebel Ame, and here is the news. President Bola Tinubu has canvassed a more deepened strategic partnership that will unlock an unprecedented level of goals in Africa and China. President Tinubu spoke in his capacity as chairman of ECOWAS Authority of Heads and of State and Government at the opening ceremony of the 2024 Summit of Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, FOCAC, underway in Beijing. State House correspondent Musbao Danwahab reports.
At all further capped, President Bola Tinubu would take the floor at the Great Hall of Beijing. In addition to his responsibilities as the leader of the African giants, the president here also carries the voices of West African leaders along with him to FOCAC. And in this sub-regional capacity, President Tinubu assessed as remarkable the partnership between China and African countries for over 50 years, as well as the FOCAC of about 25 years, being driven by collective vision for future prosperity.
Trade between Africa and China has grown exponentially, reaching an estimated $280 billion US. These impressive figures speak volumes about the strength of our economic relationship and expanding integration of our market.
President Tinubu hinges the strength and success of a growing partnership on mutual respect and a common destiny between the two parties.
Despite the global challenges we face, whether the economic or geographical, our partnership has stood firm, resolute, and offering a powerful example of what can be achieved through respect for sovereignty and non-interference.
The ECOWAS chairman, who said the countries of the world need collaboration for collective progress, believes a better strengthened FOCAC platform will ensure a win-win situation for members.
As we look to the future, it is crucial that we maintain the momentum, peaceful dialogue, transparent business practices, diplomatic conflict resolution remain at the forefront of our efforts. These values will ensure that the bond between Africa and China continue to deepen and benefit both regions for the generations yet to come.
The Nigerian leader converses genuine commitments to further deepen the partnership in the better interest of China and Africa. From Beijing, Musbah Danwahab, NTA News.
And back home, the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, and his Egyptian counterpart, Lieutenant General Mahmoud Fuad Abdel Gawad, have pledged to enhance cooperation and collaboration between their air forces, particularly in pilot training and research and development R&D. Their commitment was made when General Abdel Gawad hosted Air Marshal Abubakar at his office in Cairo, Egypt. Both leaders acknowledged the rich history of training collaboration between the two air forces, which they agreed should be further leveraged, especially by the Nigerian Air Force NAF, which has previously benefited from the training of around 50 pilots by the Egyptian Air Force EAF. The two chiefs also explored opportunities for collaboration in research and development, particularly concerning NAF's Alpha jets. The visiting team would also evaluate the possibility of conducting in-house tactical training for NAF pilots to enhance their proficiency. Now, the commencement of petrol production by Dangote refinery would have an enormous impact in unlocking supply in the country. This is the expectation of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority as it issues out license for refinery expansion to an indigenous refinery in Abuja. Lydia Sampson reports.
This license presentation is considered significant to down and midstream of the oil and gas sector for an additional 10,000 barrels per day through an expected additional 5,000 barrels per day crude distillation unit.
They have their own field where they produce and they inject directly into the refinery. Next year, 2025, the refinery will be producing about 10,000 barrels per day.
Answering questions on the pump price increase, Farouk Ahmed says NNPC Limited, as a company having cried out about the financial burden incurred from price differentials, took its own decision. Already, most petrol stations in the FCT have since adjusted their pump prices, with NNPC Limited selling at 897 naira per litre. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
The National Counter-Terrorism Center in the Office of the National Security Advisor has signed an MOU with NAFDAC to bolster the fight against terrorism and illicit drug trade. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the coordinator of the National Counter-Terrorism Center, Major General Adamu Laka, notes that illicit drug trade fuel insecurity in the country.
It's a significant event marking a pivotal movement in the ongoing drive to collectively counter violent extremism and illicit drug trade. Records show great nexus between crime and illicit drugs as most terrorists indulge in drugs before embarking on their nefarious criminal activities. Through this partnership, the National Counter-Terrorism Center and NAFDAC will improve information and intelligence sharing to trace and track illicit drug trade and terrorism.
This Memorandum of Understanding represents a commitment to shared goals, mutual support, and effective cooperation. It signifies our dedication to leveraging our respective expertise, resources, and capabilities to strengthen our response to terrorism, prevent radicalization, and protect our society from the devastating impact of violent extremism.
This is a plus for our country. It is also about our children, about our young people, that we prevent them before getting hooked by drugs and getting into terrorism and extreme violence.
The Office of the National Security Advisor facilitated the return of NAFDAC to the nation's seaports in 2018. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
A fire outbreak at the Yola Specialist Hospital in Adamawa State has destroyed a store where vital hospital equipment are kept. Governor Amadu Umaru Fintri, while on a fact-finding visit to the hospital, urged people to always guard government property. Yusuf Jika reports.
Of the fire incident, which is yet to be ascertained, destroyed equipment meant for the day-to-day operations in the hospital. Governor Ahmadu Umar Fintri, who was on the sport assessment visit, described the incident as unfortunate, calling on people to always guard public property and the interest of well-being of the society. He said his administration will continue to give priority to health sector to enable people of the state have access to better health care services.
We're not going back, and we shall continue to march forward, providing excellent service, especially in health delivery to our people. This place has no electricity connection, but you saw what happened. We'll do our best and see that the perpetrators are also featured and dealt with. Well, government is making effort to ensure that we provide the best for the larger population.
The Commissioner of Health and Human Services, Adamawa State, Felix Tangwame, explained that the fire incident will not in any way affect provision of healthcare services to the public. In Yola, Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
From Yola, we take you to Asaba, where the National Emergency Management Agency has distributed food items and other consumables to fire disaster victims in Asaba. The Director General, National Emergency Management Agency, Zubaida Umar, says the donation is to reduce the impacts of disasters on the victims. Chinyere Okoli has the details.
The Director General, National Emergency Management Agency, Zubaida Omar, represented by the Head of Operations Benin, Dahiru Yusuf, said the agency is here to support the victims and provide succor to those affected by the unfortunate incident and ensure that it will get to all the beneficiaries.
This is to give the people, those that are affected, succor.
Receiving the items, the Director, State Emergency Management Agency, Caro Ovemoso, and the Commissioner for Special Duties, Delta State, described the gesture as timely.
You can see the smile on people that have been affected, and they are very happy. If you look at it, I'm overwhelmed about even the quantity.
I don't have much to say that we appreciate and we pray for the government.
On February 8, 2024, more than 1,200 stalls were gutted by fire at Hausa Market along Asaba-Bini Expressway in Delta State capital following a gas explosion. In Asaba, I'm Chinyere Okoli, NTA News.
We now join Michael Olale in our Lagos Network Center to present to us some reports from that zone. I salute you, Michael. It's over to you. Center to present to us.
Charitable act is one of the ways to help those in need, alleviate suffering, and promote social justice. As Nigeria joins the rest of the world to observe this year's International Day of Charity, Bolaji Akim examines the act, which also commemorates the passing of Mother Teresa, who devoted her life to charity as a means of making positive change in the society.
Food, shelter, and clothing are the most basic needs of man. While some have this in abundance, others cannot afford or have access to any of these basic wants, not to mention other necessities. Though deprivation may arise as a result of natural or man-made disasters, it is important to recognize the role of charity in alleviating humanitarian crisis and human suffering within and among nations.
It's not just charity as such, because the name charity connotes just handouts and things like that. It is benefiting others and making sure you contribute to changing, helping, supporting, and transforming the lives of others.
This noble act is not only seen as promoting global solidarity for charitable causes, it also increases social responsibility on a global scale.
Through charity, we can raise the necessary resources for, let's say, education, health, feeding. For instance, communities were able to break the cycle of poverty.
We need to learn how to become bridges for people to cross. You know, it's important. We'll become bridges for people to cross into greatness, cross into contentment, cross into learning, into knowledge, cross into becoming corporate giants.
According to respondents, getting more individuals, religious organizations, non-governmental organizations, and corporate bodies involved in charitable causes will ensure social bonding and create a more resilient society for overall development. In Lagos, Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
Efficiency and effectiveness of Nigeria's shipping industry plays a crucial role in sustaining the nation's forte in maritime and the blue economy. With improvement in welfare of maritime workers, stakeholders in the sector say Nigeria will now be able to compete favorably among the Committee of Maritime Nations.
Nigeria is eager to have its own fair share of the blue economy, and rejuvenating the nation's shipping industry is one way to fully harness its potential. There is no gainsaying that maritime workers form the nucleus of the nation's blue economy, and the recent gains in the shipping industry can be attributed to their contributions. This is why government and other stakeholders in the sector have taken bold steps to address some of the issues and close gaps in the running of the sector, especially the issue of welfare.
If the workers in blue economy are well paid, you expect throughput, genuine port operations, so activities will be improved.
We are also looking at what is going on in other parts of the world, including West Africa. So in setting a minimum standard, we hope that we can bring uniformity and in so doing reduce the cost of doing business and enhance both productivity and efficiency.
Apart from achieving industrial harmony, the shipping industry is now leveraging on technology to save costs and time in its operations.
The porter has been able to achieve in the last 6 months to save this country over 29 billion of what would have been repatriated out of this country. You see how that will culminate into easing of the pressure that is on the US dollars, so that our economy can expand.
For the stakeholders, sustaining the synergy will achieve economic stability and increase revenue, thereby boosting the nation's gross domestic products. In Lagos, Joel Bukbola, NTA News.
Those are the reports from Lagos. Nationwide will continue with Udwak in Benin after this break. Do stay.
Still watching Nationwide on the NTA. Welcome to Benin. The success of the federal government's agricultural initiative for youth and women in rural communities will add credence to agitation for multiple government areas to be captured in the agricultural project. The Minister of Agriculture started this through his emissary during a fact-finding tour to Benin. Obeyi Otobo Prasai has the details.
The federal government, through Life ND in partnership with the state government and International Fund for Agricultural Development, have injected billions of naira into its agricultural development initiative for women and youths in rural communities across states in the Niger Delta. A key part of the success story of the agripreneur program in fishery, poultry and cassava value chains is the periodic monitoring of the projects by the initiators.
This program has empowered the women and youth, especially in rural areas. Their livelihood has changed. Now they are asking for government to upscale the financing such that the people of the communities can benefit.
For these women and youths, the government's support is a spur to explore the financial potentials in agriculture.
I want to thank the federal government for assisting us, for coming to our aid through this life ending.
Maritime frozen bears, we said to do that also by 4 weeks, 6 weeks. So I've truly benefited from the program.
As a young boy, I'm still able to cater for my own needs. Not every time I'm disturbing my parents for some things. So yeah, this program has really helped me.
Even as far as the riverine area, they still come here to purchase because here is a home of fish.
Over 3,000 women and youths in Edo State have so far benefited from the livelihood improvement family enterprises of the federal government. In Benin, Obeki Otoba Presai, NTA News.
The Edo State Police Command has paraded 5 suspects for various crimes ranging from kidnapping to robbery. Awili Okolo has the details.
The police public relations officers said the arrest is part of the Commissioner of Police's drive to rid the state of every form of criminal elements and criminality. This time, the command has arrested 2 suspects connected with theft at the residence of the Isama of Benin, where artifacts worth millions of naira were carted away by unknown persons.
The command operatives on surveillance around the residence arrested one Adamu Usman, aged 18 years, in the compound, making an attempt to steal those artifacts. Upon interrogation, the suspect's confession led to the arrest of another suspect named Etud Basi, who is 36-year-old and a cab driver who is the one conveying these artifacts to their destination.
One of the kidnappers of Ibunosun Evans, leader of Ubogwe community, has also been pinned down.
On another related event, there was a vehicle that was recovered just yesterday, and 2 suspects were arrested. The Commissioner of Police, Edo State Command, appreciates the good people of Edo State and appeals for cooperation with the police and other security agencies to rid the heartbeats of the nation of all forms of crime and criminality.
The suspects all confessed to their crimes.
How much will I collect? 6 will collect. 6 what? 6 million. Okay. How much reach your hand? 1.
In Benin, Awili Okolo, NTA News.
And that's it from Benin. It's back to Abuja for continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you very much, Udwa Kabok. And more on the 2024 FOCAC Summit, President Xi Jinping has announced 10 new partnership action plans to facilitate shared common goals between China and Africa. State House correspondent Musbao Danwahab has more.
24 years have gone by since the People's Republic of China joined the League of Suitors, aiming Africa's partnership for a ride on the sustainable development journey. All along, interest of the partners is to drive common vision for greater development. The 9th Summit of the Developmental Forum found the need to assess the gains of the past partnership and set new goals to ensure future fortunes.
As we celebrate the milestone achievements earlier mentioned, it is important also to reflect on the way forward.
China's partnership with the African continent is the main pillar of South-South cooperation. Your joint efforts, based on the United Nations Charter, can create a new momentum for African development.
And now, with parties yet satisfied with the journey of joint ventures, China announces new partnership action plan with Africa, which among other aims are to build an all-weather China-Africa community and jointly promote modernization.
To implement the 10 partnership actions, the Chinese government will provide 360 billion yuan, or about 50 billion US dollars, of financial support through the next 3 years.
Common aspirations have seemingly found a new vigor to drive a more rewarding future as members of the forum welcome new course of action for their partnership.
In the 10 actions that President Xi Jinping has pronounced, we find that all of them are in line with the implementation of the Agenda 2063. And we thank China for focusing on Africa's development.
A new level of partnership is now on the horizon, and the steps toward actualization are now being worked out for a greater future together for Africa and China. In Beijing, Musbao and Wahab, NC News.
Thank you very much, Musbao. Now to Kano. The National Emergency Management Agency in Kano has confirmed the death of 2 people and 2 casualties following the collapse of a building at No Man's Land in Kano. We hear that rescue operations are ongoing at the site of the incident. Let's now join our correspondent at the site in Kano for an update. Our Salisu, I can see you there. Can you speak to us on this misfortune?
Okay. The incident happened early hours of today following a heavy downpour. It was a 2-story building, and it collapsed, and 6 people were involved. 3 people are now confirmed dead by NEMA officials. 2 are at the hospital presently, and 1 person is still missing. The rescue operations are still ongoing to ensure that the missing person under the rubble was found. With me here is a NEMA coordinator in charge of Kano and Jigawa State to shed more light on the incident. Sir, what's going on at the moment?
Yeah, actually, the search and rescue is ongoing. As we mentioned earlier, 5 people were removed. 3 were confirmed dead, and 2 were taken to the hospital. So now, the fire service divers try to check, because if you look at the building, behind the building is Jakara River. So we're expecting, since the excavator has removed all the rubbles, and the search of a rescue of persons, search and rescue people have gone deep, checked, still we couldn't find the 6th person. So we resorted to using the fire service divers to check along the river course whether one of the person was falling inside the river.
Yeah, so what do you think is the causative agent of this?
Earlier, structural engineering, that I can say this is the reason why the building collapsed. Actually, it is 2-story buildings, but by what I have seen, it was built maybe along close to waterways, and the erosion was eating the area. So maybe that erosion weakened the structure of the building, which is the final collapse of the building.
So that is the situation here. As you can hear from the NEMA official, the search and rescue of
Well, we had your submission there, Awal Salisu. Thank you very much. And still talking about environmental disaster. As rains increase water levels in the north central region, the National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, has launched a public awareness campaign to ensure safety for all water users. The campaign took place in Lokoja. Here is the report.
The campaign reached various water terminals, including Pata, Ganaja, and Jamata. Here, the NIWA team educated both captains and passengers on safety practices. They highlighted the importance of wearing life jackets, avoiding overloading, and steering clear of excessive speeds to prevent accidents.
Whenever you are going with your passenger, number 1, you make sure all the passengers on board will be with a life jacket.
The problem, some of the thing is not enough like that.
Even though we have given them, or we are assuring them that as far as it is available to the National Inland Waterway, we will continue to give. But even before then, it is their responsibilities, it is the responsibilities of both owners to procure the life jackets.
As water levels continue to rise, NIWA's efforts are aimed at improving water safety and protecting lives during these times. In Lokoja, Solomon Ayedehi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, a report says residents of communities along waterways prone to flooding within Maiduguri and environs are already put on red alert by the Borno State Flood Control Committee. The state government is set to be taking all necessary measures to avert flood within Maiduguri Metropolitan Council and Jere local government, as Alo Dam has risen dangerously due to high rainfall. Secretary to the Borno State Government, Bukar Tijani, and other officials of the State Flood Control Committee have assessed various flood-prone areas as part of proactive measures to forestall damages to lives and property. Kaduna is our next port of call. Okay, I'm told Kaduna is not ready for us at this point. Let's move on with the news. All right, let's pause here for a second commercial on Nationwide. Stay with us, more news thereafter. Welcome back on Nationwide. We shall now take you to our Enugu Network Center, where Comfort Ayim is standing by to deliver the next set of reports for us. Comfort, good evening.
Welcome to Enugu Network Center. The Labour Party, in its extended stakeholders meeting in Umuahia, Abia State capital, appointed Senator Nenadi Usman as the chairman of caretaker committee that will, among other functions, broker peace as well as unify members ahead of the 2027 general elections. Ifomando Okolie reports.
Gathered at the banquet hall of the Abia State Government House in Umuahia are top officials of the Labour Party from across the country. The essence of their meeting is to get a leadership that will be recognized by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC.
We're just trying to set up just a small committee that will help to do what we want, the right thing, which will be just a period of maybe 120 days. We want everything we're going to do to end as quickly as possible, so that we'll be able to know what we're doing. So we're not trying to set up another leadership. No, we're not trying to do this. It's just a system that will help to get to where we're going.
Following the end of the tenure of the National Working Committee of the party, which they noted has created a vacuum, a 29-member caretaker committee led by Senator Nenadi Usman was set up.
Because INEC does not recognize the working committee, National Working Committee that existed, if they conducted primaries and selected candidates, they would not list those candidates in those off-cycle elections.
The caretaker committee is to immediately ensure that all local government, state and national congresses and convention of the Labour Party are held as soon as possible in accordance with the constitution of the Labour Party.
The meeting, according to the organizers, marks the beginning of a new Labour Party in Nigeria. In Umuahia, Ifomando Okolie, NTA News.
The recent hike in the price of liquefied natural gas, otherwise known as cooking gas, has led many families into looking for alternative sources of energy. Kelechi Otiaha reports that among the alternatives are charcoal and firewood.
Cooking gas, also known as liquefied petroleum gas, is a popular and convenient source of energy for many Nigerian households. However, the price of this commodity in the country is not fixed and varies depending on several factors ranging from the demand, supply, location, and season, and the economic crunch hitting hard in the country.
The cost of diesel is the cost that made gas to rise, the transportation.
Investigation reveals that the use of cooking gas goes down well with many Nigerians, but the recent hike in its price is gradually shifting some consumers to the traditional way of burning firewood and charcoals. A market survey conducted around the metropolis shows that the average price of liquefied petroleum gas goes between 1,400 naira and 1,600 naira per kg, as against the 1,200 naira sold last month.
Too high. It's no longer easily affordable, and we are now even using alternative.
The use of gas has become very exorbitant, and then it has affected many homes. It has reduced the quality of food intake in families.
Many families in Enugu are moving from the use of cooking gas to the traditional methods as alternative means of cooking. This, they say, is to cope with the hardship resulting from the economic downturn in the country.
A coal bag before from last year is 4,500, but now it's almost 6,500, 7,000.
As Nigerians grapple with the constant surge in the price of cooking gas, government has been urged to put in place measures to mitigate the biting effect on the populace. In Enugu, Kelechi Ochiawa, NTA News.
And as a packet from Enugu Network Center, we'll now take you back to Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide.
Very well, Comfort. Thank you very much. Now, talking safety. The Federal Road Safety Corps has launched a mobile application and national crash reporting information system to create an interface between the Corps and the public. Oyeyemi Ajayi reports that the mobile application launched by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, has a series of features which includes identification and notification of black spots in parts of the country.
The need to bring the Federal Road Safety Corps closer to the general public, as well as intimate them about activities and new innovative drive of the Corps, is the focus of the current leadership of FRSC. One of the major moves to this direction is the launching of the new FRSC mobile app.
The mobile app is a software application that can be used on boats to alert us on sensitive road safety issues.
The launch of these two digital platforms is a testimony to the fact that the Corps Marshal is committed to fulfilling his promises. It also marks another giant stride in the effort of the Corps at implementing policies and at creating a safer motoring environment.
FRSC is advancing towards a 21st century standard in technology, ensuring enhanced road safety measures.
The mobile applications are now available for downloads on Google Play Store, as the Corps hopes to improve safety on highways nationwide. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
In other news, Vice President Kashim Shettima has inaugurated management team of the Niger Delta Power Holding Company with expectation that the new members will deploy their expertise and experience to drive its mandate effectively. The management team was appointed by President Bola Tinubu on August 19th, 2024, as part of the renewed hope agenda in developing and improving an efficient power supply in the country. Managing Director of the company, Jennifer Idihegije, restated commitment in delivering the mandate of the company.
Strategy to propel the NDPAC to greater heights by ensuring that we come up with new solutions that would explore very fruitful market opportunities for us within the energy ecosystem. We understand the significance of adequate and quality electricity to all Nigerians, to vulnerable Nigerians, and therefore our overarching goal is to foster energy inclusion by bridging electricity access gaps to vulnerable Nigerians in underserved and unserved communities, and which is our drive in line with Mr. President's renewed hope agenda for lighting up Nigeria.
Elsewhere, the National Population Commission, NPC, is making concerted efforts to modernize and enhance the efficiency of civil registration and vital statistics that will give a legal identity to new birth. This is the focus of a 3-day training organized by the Commission to upscale the registration of new birth held in Mina, Niger State. Hussein Musa reports.
Records shows that there is a decline in birth registration in Nigeria, Niger State inclusive, due to inaccessibility of remote and underserved areas, as well as the limitations of manual registration, which are prone to errors and delays. This 3-day training by the National Population Commission, organized for Deputy Chief Registrars and ad hoc volunteers in collaboration with UNICEF, National Orientation Agency and other bodies, is therefore to equip them with the prerequisite knowledge and skills necessary to effectively implement electronic birth registration. The training also became more imperative because birth registration is a critical first step in establishing the legal identity of a child and ensuring their rights to various social services, including education, healthcare, and protection.
For us here is to train them about the processes involved on the e-registration. Hitherto we used to do it manually, but now with e-registration, everybody will be captured.
National Population Commission says the civil registration and vital statistics provides the data necessary for planning, policy making, and the provision of essential services to citizens, which must be done effectively. Emena Hussaina Musa, NTA News.
In a similar news from Asaba Delta State Capital, the Federal Commissioner, National Population Commission NPC, Blessing Brume Ataguba, says registration is the only access to establish and protect identities, citizenship and property rights. Correspondent Onyinye Joshua Ifeanyi has more on this.
About 1,200 ad hoc staff has been recruited and trained by NPC and are to participate in the registration of vital events, particularly births, in all 25 local government areas of Delta State.
We have low birth registration in the state. Children between the ages of 0 and 5 years old that have not been registered. And it's not just only the registration of the birth, it's also the issuing of birth certificates and also national identity number.
The state coordinator, National Population Commission, reminded all that the federal government's effort to have a universal system of registration of births and deaths in Nigeria was in 1979.
With birth registration, census figures can be updated.
Delta State Coordinator, National Orientation Agency, Tracy Kolomi, pledged the support of the agency in the success of the exercise.
On our part in National Orientation Agency, we're going to work with our directive from national headquarters to go from one local government to the other.
Journalists and other stakeholders interacted on the modalities for achieving the desired results. Onyinye Joshua Ifeanyi, NTA News.
Now, living up to its bidding of being a major fish hub that caters for the protein needs of the FCT and environs, the popular Kado Fish Market has caught the attention of the FCT administration as the Capital Territory government plans to remodel the market to international standards. Abdullahi Ajia reports that this was revealed when the group managing director of one of FCTA agencies, Ambassador Maureen Tamuno, visit the market.
On a daily basis, this popular Kado fish market bubbles with huge transactions that contributes to the GDP of the FCT and the country.
With the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President, he's poised to talking to the people, and that's why we have come. To talk to the people, to carry the people along. The sensitive nature of this kind of market, it was good to come to see things for myself. And of course, because we're planning redevelopment of the market, there's a need to interface with the stakeholders. Everything fishing in Abuja starts here and ends here.
We go back and look at the prawns and see how we can partner with them.
This conversation is expected to yield results in an amicable way to resolve all grey areas, including out-of-court settlement for an ongoing litigation. In Abuja, Abdullahi Ajia, NTA News.
On security, the Nigerian Police Force Zone 16 headquarters in Agua has reiterated its commitment to the protection of lives and property under its zonal area of operation. The force reaffirmed its commitment to duty during the parade of a group of young men allegedly involved in fraudulent and illicit drug activities. Ibinimi Zitimiyola reports.
The determination of the Nigerian Police Force Zone 16 headquarters Yenagwa in promoting safety and social harmony in its area of operation is on course. The most recent is the arrest and recovery of arms and ammunition from fleeing armed robbery suspects at Okaki Junction, Yenagwa.
The exhibits are suspected to have been abandoned by the robbers on the hot trail of the police operative.
Also paraded were suspected youths residing at Peterson Avenue, Port Harcourt, Rivers State, allegedly indulging in diabolic ritual, fraudulent and illicit drug activities. The force, the public relations officer said, is dedicated to executing its statutory mandate and called for maximum cooperation and support from members of the public to achieve its mandate. Ebinimi Zitimiola, NTA News.
On a solemn note, President Bola Tinubu receives the news of the passing of former national chairman of the Alliance for Democracy, AD, Chief Michael Adeniyi Kolioso, with profound sadness. Chief Kolioso was a former secretary to the government of Oyo State. In a statement, the President Tinubu condoled with the family of the late politician and businessman who was the Baba Laje of Shikeland, recalling his endeavors towards enriching and strengthening the political process. He also prayed for the soul of the deceased. And that concludes Nationwide today. Thank you for watching. I am Nolin Ebel Ame. Do have a good evening.